Okay, we're back. We're talking about, well, I'm talking about the election, which is only days away. We're hoping as you watch this program at the end of it, you'll have, especially those of you who are undecided, will have a better sense of who you want to vote for when you go into the booth. Let's talk about energy. I wanted to ask each of you, you're talking about renewable energy, new forms of energy, getting away from oil. How do we pay for all of this, the research and the development of these new forms that we're talking about? Cliff?
Well, I think the government's going to have some role in terms of developing, really expanding the research, and then there's going to have to be partnerships, and encouraging private development and venture capital, encouraging venture capital to come in and develop this. Now, it's interesting because I do think you need markets, because I don't think you can come in and have alternate sources unless you have markets, and that's going to be a challenge, I think, because you have to, one of the interesting things is often new power plants would look for 30-year contractual terms, and so that you're going to have some restructuring there in terms of the markets. But I think you're going to create basically a technology infrastructure and encourage venture capital through some government.
Okay, Glenn?
Senator McCain has said that if there's a market for carbon credits, just that new market and having to pay to pollute will actually start to advantage alternative sources, including nuclear, including wind. It'll help pay for that, because so that new market of paying for pollution will actually advantage the newer sources, and I do believe they both agree on that.
Right. So how do you pay for the rest of it? McCain wants to give tax breaks for the most part to give incentive to business to come into things like solar power, wind power, and the like. Obama wants to get more into government subsidies, more of a fast track kind of a thing. Is there a difference there between the two of you on that?
I think there's a fundamental difference. I mean, Senator Obama talks all the time about ExxonMobil, and how he wants to have a windfall profits tax on ExxonMobil. If you look at ExxonMobil's second quarter, they earned about $138 billion. It cost them $94 billion to take the oil out of the ground, process it, transport it. Then the government took $32 billion in taxes, and then there was $12 billion left over for profit, and that was 8%. 8% is a very normal profit amount for a corporation, and that's where that $12 billion, that profit, is what pays for research and development. That's what pays for new drilling, new exploration, and alternatives that large corporations like that are working on. So,
but we need to pay. Let me jump in there. Go ahead. Yeah, because there's this notion when Glenn keeps talking. There's no good tax in the world, and so the effect is that here's ExxonMobil, which really is certainly a taxable entity. They're making enormous profits, and we need money. We're talking about all these programs. We need money, and so there's a source of the money. And part of that money can be directed into alternate energy. Now, ExxonMobil might not be doing wind. It might not be to their benefit, but it's perfectly rational and reasonable for a government to tax them so that you can use that to develop other sources.
And this, Cliff, and this is where Cliff and Senator Obama, the Democrats, and myself, and of course our candidate Senator McCain, and I think the Republican Party are so different, because we believe passionately that businesses and individuals make much better investment decisions than government. Whereas I think Senator Obama is saying, take the money away from Exxon, take the money away from corporations, take the money away from people, and we government will make better decisions.
Yeah, and let me respond to that, because let me respond to that, because George Bush had the same philosophy that John McCain does, and 8 years later we have a $10 trillion accumulated deficit, and the government is having to go in and bail out all of our banks. So the idea that in this anti-deregulation, low-tax environment that the taxpayer and the individual is never hurt has been so refuted by the reality of the Bush administration, which John McCain supports.
Healthcare. No. Wait. Healthcare is an issue too, and we're going to come back in a moment. Take a short break, and we'll be right back. Stand by. Be right back.